My name is Larry, recovered alcoholic. My sobriety date is May 15, 2004. And I already have a resentment because my team lost. I'm a Yankee fan, and I see this sign here. I'm like, I am from Bakersfield, but my story started in New Jersey, so that's why I'm a Yankee fan. I'm an East Coaster. I don't think I have an accent, but sometimes I get excited. It'll come out like coffee. But my story. Let's see what happens. I haven't told my story in a while, so I'm like a squirrel sometimes. I don't have a really good story, but I can tell you that I did start drinking somewhere around 5 years old. When I say that, I'm Colombian. My family's from South America, and we did the coffee stuff, not the other stuff, right? And my family, we used to get together in Jersey, and we always had these parties that go on all night. And back in those days, there was a coat room, because it's cold over there, and all the coats went into one bedroom. All the little kids would hang out, eat, whatever they did. But then, these little shots, we call them aguardiente. Colombians do aguardiente. It's at the table, it's a little shot, it's eye level. I figure it's for the kids, right? So us kids would drink that aguardiente. Something happened to those kids. They would be out cold in the coat room. But this guy would be dancing with the older ladies, and they'd be like, wepa, wepa, and so I reacted differently, but I don't think I was an alcoholic yet at that time, It's just a little funny story. I'm not sure whether I was alcoholic or reacted differently, but something happened there. But anyway, in my life, I always say I didn't drink regularly since kindergarten, but I should have. And the reason I say that is, I don't know about you guys, but, I had a dad that told me that everything I did wasn't good enough. I was almost straight A. I'd have all A's, one B. And the only thing he would tell me is, why'd you get that B? I was a star baseball player. If I got a double, how come you didn't get a triple? If I felt like if I made a left, how come you didn't make a right? No matter what, I wasn't doing it right. And it was in my head, I'm trying to please everybody, and I just couldn't, right? So I knew something was wrong with me, and I was really scared everybody else was going to figure this out. So I'm going, people call it functioning alcoholic. Since I've been a little kid, I've been a performing alcoholic before I was really drinking. I'm performing for everybody in the room, and it's really hard when you're trying to perform for everybody at once because everybody wants something different. I don't know who I am. I've heard people come into rooms and say they want to be who they used to be. I have no idea because I am just a performer for everybody. I am so scared of not being liked, I know I'm unlovable and I'm broken, and I'm really worried you guys are going to figure that out. So it gets tiring to do that, and I can tell you that somewhere around 8th grade, I went to hang out with those really cool kids, the older kids, the freshmen, right? And it was one of those things where I told my parents I'm going to my friend Eric's house. Eric said he's coming to my house, and we all ended up at some freshman's house, and we started drinking. And here's where things started changing for me in my life. All the other 8th graders that were there, they drank, got sick, and passed out. But Larry kept drinking, and all of a sudden the freshmen were patting me on the back. Larry, you're cool. Larry, you're cool. And I can tell you, even right now when I tell you the story, sense of ease and comfort they talk about in the book. I didn't know that that's what I was looking for. I wanted validation, and I got it because I could drink more than the other guys, and I felt like I had arrived. So alcohol did work for me for a long time. People talk about how their worst day in sobriety is better than their best day. No, I had a lot of good days drinking. When I woke up next to a strange girl, it was a good day, I danced better. I played pool better. I did everything better. I was taller. I'm bulletproof. Some people say wittier, prettier, and And so everything when I drank worked. So if I drank this much and it was working, why don't I just drink a little more? My story is not that good. I'm a low self-esteem, cowardly drunk. I drunk drive, I drunk dial, remember that? I love you, man. And I'm calling, somebody. I'm a pillow sticker. You guys know, when you go to sleep, throw up, and you wake up and the pillow stuck to your face, Some people die there. I'm hard to kill, right? But I was always looking for that escape. I needed to get out of my head, and I just wanted to be someone else. That blackout was not a blackout that I went down in the corner. No, I keep walking around. I'm hitting on people's wives. I'm drunk drive. I'm doing a lot of crazy bad things. And I'm not a tough, bad guy. It's just stupid things, right? And I got to ask someone the next day, what did I do? And sometimes they say, you don't want to know, Larry. I'm like, I really do. And they're like, no, you don't. And so I still don't know what I did, you know. So one day someone will tell me. And so my drinking career started going towards, and I didn't get here knowing that I'm an alcoholic. I kept a job. Mom and dad still talk to me. I don't have a big tragic backstory. You know, like I went to Catholic school. Geez, you know, so I'm not scared of anything. I had nuns, right? And, you know, I had a car. I had a little apartment. And I've moved. I have geographic because something's wrong with my life, and I need to find something else. So like I said, I'm from Jersey. I've lived in Ohio, Miami, and LA, and then Bakersfield. I don't know what the hell. And so I ended up in Bakersfield. And but I'm always looking for some kind of hope, something to change my life. And I can tell you that my bottom is not the day I got the DUI, that I got in a drunk tank. I threw up on myself in a drunk tank, and I'm cold in Orange County. That's not my bottom. I didn't know. I thought at the time, for many years, I thought that was my bottom. But if I really look back, and you know, stuff I'm telling you now is because I have a sponsor and I've worked with him and I've looked at my past. About a week before, like I've done many times in my past, after a night of drinking, women aren't throwing themselves at me, men aren't adoring me the right way. Whatever it was, I felt no good. And I come home like I've done before, and I had a big mirror, and I look up, and I start crying. It hurts so bad being Larry, and it's nothing big. It just hurt. It sucks. Something's wrong with me, and I don't know what's wrong with me, and I'm a macho Latin man. When I start crying, I hate that, first of all. And secondly, I'm crying like where you can't breathe. You know, like I'm really crying, and I'm like, I'm going to die because I don't cry normally. I'm just going to end up dying here. And so what did I do? At around 3 in the morning, I call one of my religious friends up. And he says, Larry, why don't you get on your knees and pray? I did not pray to take alcohol away. I said, God, please, please take away the pain that's me. Take away the pain that's my life. And I asked for that. And I didn't know he was going to answer my prayer by giving me a DUI a week later. You know, that DUI, which I think it was a .028, whatever they call it. And I don't remember. I have to read the police report. But I was driving really well. I always say it was tinted windows and bad luck, you know. It's not that my driving was bad, but the cop pulled me over, and I have to read the police report, right? And I don't know what happened. But that police report got me to the judge, and it got me that little court card that made me come in here. And so my first meetings were in Anaheim. And it was the 202 Broadway Club, if you guys know where it is. And that's a little bit of a weird place, right? So I walk in there, and first thing they said, and I still wear it, they're like, you got to watch. You're never going to stay sober, you know? And I came in with a polo shirt in a car, you know, and I had a job, and I had a place to live. They're like, you're never going to stay sober, bud. And in that place, there was a lot of people in the rooms, and a lot of them loved to share. And sometimes you'd have to go around and say your name, and I'd say, my name's Larry, I'm an alcoholic, you know, like I'd mumble it. Then those old timers, are you an effing alcoholic or not, right? And I'm cleaning it up because we're in church. But you're an effing alcoholic or not? And I'm like, yes, I am. Please stop yelling at me. I'm very sensitive, right? And but if you don't know what that is, I didn't know what that really meant. I just said it to shut them up. And I sat in these rooms, and I'm glad you gave out the chips. In those days, you know, I'm from Bakersfield. I don't know why we give 1 million chips out for every month, plus a cheater chip at 18 months. We give out a whole bunch of chips, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. At the time, I got 1, 2, 3, and I'm doing good because I'm getting these chips. And then they stop. Nothing at 4, nothing at 5. I got to wait till 6. I'm like barely hanging on, and I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is sitting in a meeting, and it's getting worse for me. You know, they say meeting makers make it. But I've been sitting in meetings where I just felt like this hurts too much. I need to go step in front of a bus. That's me with no recovery, just sitting in the rooms. And at 6 months, I started hearing, finally, I still remember Tony, Paul, and Dana, 3 people that sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 one day at a time. Wah, wah, let live and let live. Those are useless platitudes in my life, you know? This is not going to help me, save me, or make me feel better. And I just remember they always shared the same damn thing. I'm like, don't they have something better to say? And I sat in there, and somebody said, Big Book. And I'm like, yeah, I got a Bible. And they're like, no. Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I don't know where it's out of here, but the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm like, well, I can read the steps. I'm smart. I'm college educated. I can kind of do that. And it didn't work for me. And so 6 to 9 was super miserable. And I don't know what to tell you. You know, like when my end of my drinking days, I used to drink to blackout, hoping I'd never wake up and the world would be better off. And I woke up and I have to do this all over again. And I did that and I existed that way. And I found this out later. Like in the big book, they talk about, are you willing to make the ultimate sacrifice? I was too cowardly to kill myself straight out because I'm a recovering Catholic too. And I was too scared to kill myself, but I drank hoping I wouldn't wake up. Just God, take the pain, let me die. And so I don't know what that train of thought was, but so here I am now in the rooms, and I feel the same way. I'm not getting relief. I've heard people say, just don't drink. Well, I'm just not drinking, and it's not getting any better. So I'm really grateful that finally somebody said, come on, let's get a big book, and let's start doing the work. Let's find out if you're alcoholic, actually. And so be careful, because now I'm going to tell you stuff that you might regret, because once you hear it, you're going to know. But he said, let's find out. Let's do step 1 out of the big book. And I know people say the program's in 164 pages, but the 12 steps starts in the Roman numerals with the doctor's opinion. So there's about 10 pages there, and you don't have to believe me. I could be lying to you. Check later. That's my way of tricking you into checking it, right? Roman numerals, doctor opinion, step 103, the end of step 12. So 113 pages for all 12 steps. 40 to 50 pages are step 1. The other 60, 70 pages are 2 through 12. So those first 100 thought it really important that you be thoroughly convinced that step 1, that you're an alcoholic. And, so I've done some of that work. I did it with a sponsor, and he started taking me through it. And, it says I'm allergic, so I'm sure you've heard it. But, like if I'm allergic to peanuts, eat the peanut and see if you can stop what happens next by using your willpower. I can't. Use your PhD to stop what happens next if you're allergic to peanuts. Use your love of your wife or your kid, whatever it is. Nothing can stop what happens next. I definitely need a higher power. Then I was like, all right, I believe that. I'm allergic to alcohol because once I start, I cannot stop. I don't know if I'm going to stop at 1 drink, 100 drinks. I don't know where. So it says, though, but none of this matters. Just don't take the first drink. There's my answer. Just don't take the first drink. And I've heard people say, just choose not to drink. Well, if I could choose not to drink, then I wouldn't need any of you and I wouldn't need the program. The problem is I cannot just not drink. And the book tells me I have a mental obsession. It overrides. It actually says psychopath, and I didn't like that word. Lack of sound judgment, criminal, amoral behavior maybe, and I just cannot. And there's a place where it says, marshal my resources. I like that. It's like Napoleon or whatever. Some general sets up his army, the artillery, he sets up the ambush. He has everything exactly the way he wants it, and he still drinks because he does not have the needed power to do that. And so the mental obsession overrides anything, and then once I take the drink, I don't know where I'm going to end up. So, okay, and then it goes, it's in the book, it talks about Roland Hazard. He went to Carl Jung, the greatest psychologist in the world. He worked with him for a year, and he said, he came out of there with high hopes. The best psychiatrist in the world. So just in case you have a little loophole, like, oh, well, maybe I can do this if I go to the greatest psychology in Ventura, psychologist or psychiatrist. But this guy went to the greatest psychiatrist in the world for 1 year, working with him multiple times a week. In 3 months, he relapsed. It wasn't enough. Even Carl Jung said, you better find some kind of higher power. So everybody so far is telling me I need a higher power. I have no hope. Step 1 is about beating you down until you lost all hope that you can do this. And I've heard, and I know this is going to be controversial and people are going to get upset, play the tape forward, halt, remember your last drunk. None of those have a higher power word in there. All of them are based on me and my power to remember, to be able to play the tape forward. You know how they say insanity? First of all, Einstein never said insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. He didn't say that. But my insanity is doing the same thing over and over, knowing it's going to end up bad, and I still can't stop myself from doing it. That's the insanity. I cannot stop myself. I am insane when it comes to alcohol. But really, this is where the unmanageable part, the third part of step 1 is really my problem. I thought alcohol was my problem. It's not. I have a spiritual malady. And so I love using the bedevilments. You can look at page 52. And bedevilments work for me. When I was drinking, I'm misery. I'm prey to misery, depression. I have problems with personal relationships. I'm useless. So it describes me when I'm drinking. You stop me from drinking. I'm miserable, depressed, full of fear. I'm unhappy. I have problems with personal relationships. I'm useless. So I feel so bad. I cannot stay spiritually sick for too long because I have to kill the pain one way or the other. And so I found out that I need to do something that used to give me relief. Alcohol used to give me the sense of ease and comfort. If AA doesn't give me a higher power that gives me a sense of ease and comfort, I'm doomed. You know, and step two, I'm just going to say the step two decision, everything or nothing. Well, if God is nothing, or higher power, sorry. When I say God, it's higher power, whatever you want to call him. If there is no higher power, I am thoroughly convinced from step one that I can't beat this. That means I am going to live miserable and in pain until I finally die, and it's not a quick death. People say they're afraid of death. Death is the end of pain. Unfortunately, I'm hard to kill, and I keep feeling the pain over and over, and I don't want to keep doing that. Sober and dry and abstinent, that's not for me, man. Have you ever seen old timers or whoever, sitting in his room, hanging onto the seat, F this, F that, obviously it happens sometimes, but we can't stay there too long. If I cannot find a substitute, then this is not going to work. Step three, I know people start trying to define a higher power, but my step three, because I don't know, maybe I'm weird or logical or backwards, turn it over. All I'm doing at step three is deciding that Larry at his very best, with everything lined up the way he wants it, cannot beat this. I can't do this, so I need a higher power. I'll turn it over, but I don't know what that he looks like. I don't know what that higher power looks like. All I'm doing at step three is I can't, and if I'm going to find him, what do? Step three means go to step four. And then step four starts changing things for me. So, everybody talks about the resentments, and I'm going to try to go quickly through it, but when I'm looking at the resentments, how everybody's wronged me, I feel like somebody gets up early on a Monday morning, they get their breakfast Cheerios, they get dressed, they get out work, and they said at 3 o'clock, I'm going to cut Larry off. They're out in the world to piss me off, right? They're lining up at 7-Eleven wrong. They're just doing everything wrong. Everybody's acting wrong, and I feel like it's all personal, right? And in step four, one of the amazing things I found out is that my life is driven by fear. That little sentence, driven by fear, reminds me of step one. Like I said, I cannot choose not to drink. I have to drink. I cannot stay stopped for long on my own power. I will have to. But it says, though, driven by fear means I also cannot stop myself from fear. I am afraid of you guys not loving me. You guys are going to think wrong of me, or you're not going to give me what I want. And those things push me to bad character defects. I know people try to name their character defects in 6 and 7, but it's the fear that triggers. If you don't like me, I'm going to people please the hell out of you. If you don't like me, maybe I have to beat you up. I don't know what it is, And but it's the fear in me that triggers a character defect. So actually, I don't really care about my list. I can name them. Some of them are I'm enabling, I'm entitled, I'm a people pleaser, manipulator, liar, but none of that matters. It's the fear that kicks it off. And I need to I needed the fourth step to start uncovering some of these fears. And there's a fear inventory in there, if you guys haven't known. In the fear inventory, no matter what it is, I'm afraid of being unloved. Why am I afraid of being unloved? Because I'm going to end up alone. If I'm alone, then I'm going to feel bad, I'm going to feel scared, and I'm going to die alone, I'm going to be miserable. All of it ends up at one place. Can Larry fix it? No. And if there is no God, that means I have no hope. So one of my greatest fears is that there is no higher power that can help me. That's my greatest fear, actually, that there is no higher power. Okay, so in 5, there's some really cool stuff. There's the hidden promises. Everybody talks about the 9-step promises. I think the 5th step, I can be at perfect peace and ease alone. I can start having experience with the higher power. And there's a lot of, the urge to drink will be lifted. I don't know about you guys, but that's one of the things we're in here for, right? If you can make it to step 5, you don't have to believe me, but it says it in there. The urge to drink will probably be lifted. The problem is that's not enough for me. I need to feel okay about this, right? So that's why I keep doing this work. And here's something, if you are a sponsee, one of my sponsors, or the first sponsor, I asked him, hey, can you be my sponsor? And he said, yes, but you got to call me every day. I'm like, man, I'm a man. Who am I going to call every day and for what, right? And he said, every time I call him, I get him out of himself and I save his life. He goes, Larry, are you so selfish that you're going to let me die? So he tricked me. I call him every day because if he dies, it's my fault, right? What that did, though, was I call him every day, and I usually say, yeah, everything's good, bye. Everything's good, bye. Things are not so good. But every day, I start getting used to talking to him, and then I can tell him when things are not going good. Thank God he tricked me into this. So be careful what they have out there, man. But, so in the fifth step, I'm a sponsor now. And I've heard, so in case you guys are worried about giving your fifth step, I've heard some fifth steps that made my jaw drop. Like, holy crap, I can't believe he did that. The truth is, I don't remember who said what. There's a couple reasons for that. I believe my higher power makes me forget. And these guys that I know now are not the same guys that came in. They're different people. They've grown to be someone different, and they're friends, and I'm still friends with them. Or probably I've heard it all, and I'm bored. Sometimes I got to stay, I'm trying to eat chips to listen to you guys do the fifth step. But, you're all scared about something really crazy, but I've heard it. I've heard a lot of fifth steps, and we've done some crazy things in here. So I'm really grateful that my sponsor didn't turn his back on me. And I think the fifth step is where I really felt like I belonged in here. Because I didn't think my story was good enough. I thought I had to add a crime scene, some murder, or some rap so you guys would listen to me. But no, he didn't turn his back on me on what I said. So 6 and 7, humbly asked him. Just like I have to humbly ask my higher power to help me not drink, I have to humbly ask him to remove the fear and the character defects. I retaliate. If you swing at me or challenge me or anything like that, I say I retaliate with mouth or fist. I can't help it. The book talks about pause when agitated. The fact that my higher power can let me pause for a second, and I give it over to him because I can't beat this. Let him change me. But okay, I want to change, but how do I change it? I don't have the power. That's what I believe 8 and 9 are about. When I make my list and I'm willing to make amends, that's where I get freedom. That means I know I did wrong, and I need to make right. And when I make my 9th step amends, change behavior. It gives me power so I don't have to do that again. I've made amends for, I remember baby mama. I have baby mama drama. And she came to me. She broke up with me, first of all. How dare she, right? And she went and married someone else. How dare she? Well, right before she married, she came to ask me my opinion about this. And I'm like, whoo, here's my chance to get her back, right? And but I had to make amends to her. And I made amends for not being the man that she expected, for not being there for her, especially when she had that baby. And so when I made that amends, when she came to me, I was able to be a friend and not a dog like I normally am. That's not normal Larry. I was someone different because I've done these amends. I have amended behavior, changed behavior. And today, thankfully, I'm friends with baby mama, and I'm friends with the husband too. Holy crap. And not only that, I tell this story. This is the progress, right? In the beginning, Christmas, my little boy, she had other kids with him, right? And my little boy would go to his house, their house, for Christmas. And I would go to a meeting or whatever it was just to get away. I didn't want to see it. But they invited me. Eventually, I end up going to their house, and I'm a single guy, and they're making home-cooked meal. I'm like, all right, it's a win-win, right? I'm getting meals. Towards the end, the husband and I are sitting on the ground putting part A to part B on the toys for all our kids. Where does that come in the script? That's not the script I would have written. I am blessed that we are friends, right? That's not something I would have written up. And, and I say, well, I'll try to remember later to try to get around on that one because there's some gratitude, more gratitude on that one. People talk about 10, 11, and 12, right? The amends, there's 10 and 11, there are some reviews. I learned how to do the 4-step. Anytime, anywhere, somebody comes up and my ears turn red, like somebody looks at me funny, talks about the Dodgers, I know that the problem is mine because I did enough 4-step work. And what is it on me? I have a lot of expectations. I expect you guys to follow the script I didn't give you. and when you don't follow it, as a matter of fact, my whole life, I've been trying to change all of you to act right. And it gets very tiring to do that because you guys don't act right. And thankfully, the book talks about one of the greatest messages is nothing in the world has to change, only here, for my world to get better. So remember what I say, I drank to get a sense of ease and comfort. Now, the same magic happens when a higher power gets involved and changes my world situation. And some gratitude I'll bring it up now is that, I told baby mama, I'm a recovering Catholic, and I told baby mama, I don't want this kid. I wasn't, she was hot, young, legal, young, and I was just having fun. She tried to trap me with that kid. And so I had resentments. But little did I know that little boy was the greatest blessing of my life. Little did I know that DUI was going to give me a life beyond my wildest dreams. Little did I know that my higher power is going to change everything in my life. And so I could give you an example. I came in with a car that was not good enough. I lived in a little apartment that was too small, a job that didn't pay enough, and I'm a single dad. I became a single dad. It's not, whatever. There's a lot of issues being a single dad, right? And I'm complaining about all this. You add some higher power to it. Thank God I got a job that pays for a car because I used to have to take the bus when you lose your license. I got a place to live. People don't have a place to live. And I got a little boy that says, I love you, Dad. And as a matter of fact, he's 24, and he still calls me all the time to talk about anime, which I don't even know what that means, but he starts talking about it, and we go to Comic-Con conventions. We play Pokemon together. I am blessed that I get to do that kind of stuff. And all that because that means I don't know what's good for me. I always bring up that what happens a year ago, there was something that I could not get past. It was unbeatable. I don't know what I was. It's a year later, and I don't remember what it was. I didn't drink. I have a higher power. It's gone. I have new things I'm complaining about right now. There's things that I don't know how I'm going to get through. But if I stay and do what my higher power wants, chances are next year I will remember what's happening today. I'll have a whole new set of stuff to complain about. My higher power has changed everything on me, and I'll tell you the story. You might have heard it, but I get scared when I tell the story because people start naming nicknames, right? There's always nicknames. There's One-Eyed Sally, Bucktooth Mary, whatever it is. So I got a dog, a boxer dog, a big boxer, right? And he used to take big craps in my backyard, and my landscaper won't mow the backyard until I pick up the poop. Bakersfield's 115 out there scooping up poop so that he can come by. And I made the mistake of complaining to my sponsor. He goes, "You ungrateful bastard." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, what are you scooping up, poop? Where's it coming from? My dog. "Oh, you have a dog. How lucky. Where's that dog crapping?" "My backyard." "You got a backyard? Damn, what's that connected to?" "My house." "You ungrateful bastard." So now I have to be grateful when I'm scooping up poop. Almost everything in my life can be changed that way because a higher power got involved with me. He's my life. He's changed what I see now. So, but, I was worried that people are going to start calling me Dog Crap Larry or whatever it is, But I can go, and sometimes I get challenged. Like I see the electric bill. I'm in Bakersfield, 115. It's a huge electric bill, but I've been able to pay for it. I've been able to pay for it because my job was just enough, And, I always say I'm grateful I have Netflix on 3 TVs. Man, I'm really blessed. When we get to 10 and 11, there's a place where it says we have a position of neutrality. That means alcohol no longer has any effect on me. What that means is, I told you in the beginning, I cannot choose not to drink. I do not have enough willpower to say no to the drink, and I can't stay stopped for long. In the big book and in several places, even in the forewords, it says there's a key to permanent recovery, and it says in 10:11 that we cannot drink even if we wanted to. And it almost sounds arrogant, but I really believe what the big book says, that if I'm spiritually fit, that I cannot reach for the drink. I feel like he will stop me from reaching that drink. And so that doesn't mean life is all rainbows and stuff. I still, when I face with something that I used to drink over, I am still homicidal, suicidal, and dromicidal. And that's why I still need this program, and I'm blessed that I work with sponsees. Because today, when I'm going through stuff, it's like the mafia. Every time I feel like isolating, those damn guys call me. And then when they call me, I got to deal with them. They saved my life. Wait, that's what my sponsor told me a long time ago, man. I didn't know the mechanism was going to work. And I tell you this, I am not the one that hits the green button. I want to hit the red button and go back on the couch and scratch. But no, when they call me and I press the green button, that's a higher power that makes me press that green button. And then they said, I want to work steps. We come and I sit at my table in my dining room. It's got a coffee set up and we do step work. And that's not Larry's normal nature. But because Larry does it, thank God, I feel blessed every time I do that work with him. You know, I get to get out of myself, and I feel better about myself. So careful, well, you know, you might catch this program. There's a funny mechanisms around here. So I'm not even sure where I was going to go with the rest of this, but I think, you know, 10 and 11, there's a lot of reviews in there, right? And people just talk about the prayer and meditation. And I can tell you this, I have a 1939 dictionary to find out what they meant by meditate. I mean, if you can meditate and elevate, that's great. But, or levitate, whatever you want to call it. But in the book, in the dictionary, 1939, it says focus thought, ponder, contemplate. You know, it means think about something. It means try to focus, narrow down. Because when I'm sitting there, my left butt hurts. You know, I want to have Burger King for dinner. What's on TV later when I start getting quiet. But if I sit there and concentrate on the meditation, I feel like sometimes answers come to me. Because by this point, your mind is getting to be cleared. People talk about the mind being a crime scene, the mind is out to get you. No, the higher power gave us a mind to use and work. And when I get an answer like that during meditation, is it from my higher power, from my mind? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It just means I get to practice something different that lets me get connected to that higher power. But remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but I told you there's a lot of delusions I found in step 4. Delusions means I don't even see. There's denial. I try to loophole my behaviors and why I do things, right? Well, I'm a good guy, or whatever it is. I have these, you know, like I have a way of trying to justify why I did everything. The 4th step, though, made me face my delusions. I have bad programming. I'm a macho Latin man. I cannot ask for help. I either fail or do good on my own. And it's a bad, I think all of you guys should respect me in the way I think I should be. You have to adore me the way I want to be adored. And I have these expectations and delusions. Nobody has to respect me. I'm not challenging anybody. But nobody has the power to give me respect. The 4th step, I give all my power to other gods, small g's I call them. If I ask out a girl and she says no, I must not be man enough. There must be something wrong with me. If the job doesn't give me the raise, there must be something wrong with me. There's so many things in life. If I feel like you disrespected me, there must be something wrong with me. That means all you guys own how I feel. That's a horrible way to go. That's too much power to everybody else. Here's an example of how this works, and I call it sometimes freedom of bondage of self. When I first got in here, I looked at all you guys, and if one of you didn't like me, why don't you like me? I forgot about the rest of you, and I'm so focused on that one guy that doesn't like me, and character defects kick in. Let me people please manipulate. Here's money, man, just like me, you know? And then you guys said, well, Larry, why don't you look at the bright side? Well, everybody else likes me. That's kind of a cool thing, right? No, it doesn't matter. Between me and my higher power, if I'm not trying to hurt any of you, that means I'm okay, whether you like me or not. That's a big freedom. No longer do you own me, because I hate getting owned. And I get owned by a lot of G's. Like I said, somebody cut me off. They did it for purpose. Somebody lines up at 7-Eleven wrong. They did it on purpose, you know? And so I am grateful that I get a freedom that way. One more thing, I guess I like giving examples of how my life has changed. I live in Bakersfield, and I drive over the Grapevine. I do it a lot to go hiking. I'm a hiker. And by the way, a funny sentence, harder the climb, the better the view. Maybe that's something we should do in here too. The harder the climb, the better the view. But I drive over the Grapevine, right? And if I look down, McDonald's wrappers, pieces of tire, litter, garbage, concrete, it's a horrible drive. I feel like my higher powers got involved with my life. He raises my chin just a little bit. There's clouds coming over at green, or sometimes icy mountain. There's sometimes cows, hills, and mountains. It's a beautiful. beautiful view. It's the same road. Both are the same road, but which one am I going to enjoy better? My higher power allows me to see something different, something better, and it's the same place. That's what I say is the gift, the magic of what alcohol used to do. I have a higher power that makes me see things differently. So anyway, I think that's enough out of me. Even I don't even know. Oh, you got the 5 minutes. I didn't even see that, man. But anyway, here's the last thing I'll say. I always say this. I challenge you to 12 honest steps, but have a tour guide to help you see the things in the big book to change your life. Anyway, thanks for letting me share, guys.